What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully you're staying warm. It's pretty chilly around the country. Anyhow, let's start off. This is Late Night Live. We got a lot of news tonight, a lot of different things to cover. Let's start off with this article right here I saw from Washington Post, propaganda machine, Washington Post. Do your own research is a good way to end up being wrong. This is what you call gaslighting right here. Propaganda. Dude, my research always proves to be correct. Doing your own research is a way to end up being wrong. These guys, kind of like the CJ Stroud post-game interview. I don't know if you've seen this on NBC, but they cut out his section of talking about Christ. Check it out.
Season and a record-setting performance for you. What does this moment mean?
I mean, it's been amazing being in this city for as short as I've been. But first and foremost, I just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's been amazing being
your first NFL.
So yeah, you can't be on the news talking about Jesus Christ, man. Come on, CJ. That's against the Davos World Economic Forum, the WHO, all these people. They don't want you talking about these sort of things. Oh, by the way, people keep sounding sick. No, I don't know if you guys remember, I had a nose surgery, I think like 2.5 months ago. And I heard this happen with a lot of people. They'll get the surgery and they wind up being worse. And I'm one of those people. Lucky me, right? So my nose is worse than it was prior to the surgery. So I wouldn't get a nose surgery. They wanted me to do another one. I'm not doing another one. You're not cutting on me anymore. But anyway, check this out. Daily Mail. Nothing left to do but support each other. It takes a village indeed. Man who got 5 women pregnant at the same time hosts joint baby shower for all of them. This right here, guys like this is what's wrong in the world. I'm sure he's proud of himself for this. You can just tell this dude is so happy he got 5 women pregnant at the same time. Any man who's an actual man wouldn't have these kind of results of his actions. Let's just be honest. Any man who takes care of his children would know that, trying to take care of 5 from different women isn't going to work out very well. I can assure you, without even knowing the guy, that I can confidently say he'll be a piece of shit. I can say that. Yeah, real men don't do things like that. Anyway, I want to talk about Sean Strickland, the mixed martial arts middleweight UFC reigning champion. He'll be fighting on the 20th. And he's one of my favorites. He says what he believes in. He's not afraid. And he was interviewed by some Canadian journalists. And he kind of goes off the rails on them, and I love it. It's good. Now, he does use some language. So if you don't like foul language, go ahead and pause the video, fast forward through this part, and we'll discuss what he said. So here you go.
We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said, if I had a gay son, I would think I'd...
Oh, look, another, I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and some would say...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse...
Are you, let me know, are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking, this is the part of, are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son, then he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau, like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone, and has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
That doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what, and they'll know what they stand for.
This guy's like, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Fucking chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there.
We've got a pretty supportive.
So he kind of goes off on another reporter as well about Canadian, about seizing money and things. It was pretty good. He also tweeted this. We still call it tweeting now that it's X. I don't know, but he's not know who this guy is. I don't care. But you're not a man. But you take that as a compliment. So why I like Sean Strickland? There's a few reasons. Obviously, there's things I probably dislike about him. I don't agree with anyone 100%, but I do like he speaks his mind, and especially because the UFC's in a partnership with Bud Light, and he's not even scared to go against their actions in the past. And I know a lot of conservatives are now like, yeah, go Bud Light. But it's good to put the screws to some of these companies, because if you don't, a lot of people are like, oh man, don't we got to support Bud Light because Don Jr. said Americans are working there. Well, Americans are working at every freaking company. And a lot of these things are woke. And are they good Americans, bad Americans? We don't know. You don't know. That could be like this guy, this reporter. But the thing is with that is he's not afraid to stand up to it. I also saw him like at UFC, and there was like a concealed weapons sign saying that you couldn't carry. And he's like, UFC does a video. UFC, you need to obviously do something about this. I can't be unarmed here. So it's people like him. He's a reigning champion, and he's using his voice to go against the grain, because this is the thing. We've been overwhelmed with this type of Marxism for the past 5-7 years. Kind of like basically when Colin Kaepernick started taking a knee, and then if you said something about it, they called you a racist for disrespecting our national anthem. Well, so this is one of those things where someone that has a following, because he's a champion, people love this guy, and he speak out, and he doesn't care about the repercussions. Now you go ask someone like, let's say, and I hate to throw Jocko Willink on the bus, got a large following, but he won't ever really define. Like he'll kind of toe the line a little bit, but he'll never define what he really believes, because he don't want to lose customers. This man does not care, and I do like that about him. But the other thing about Sean is that and I opened up the other night on a video, and I got a lot of praise for it, so thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. A lot of you guys probably we all deal with the same struggles in life. And sometimes it's good to hear it from someone else, because a lot of people with a following, influencers, champions, they're never going to tell you about, their personal struggles in life. And, we're all, equal, and we all deal with the same issues. And if, somebody like Sean can say something that I may have dealt with can help you, man, that's a win, So the thing is about Sean, and I think a lot of his personality comes from his childhood trauma. He's a fighter. His dad was abusive. He talks about that quite extensively on various interviews. He was on Theo Von crying about it. He brought down in tears, and this dude will wreck your day if you mess with him. And he was not afraid to cry. And I think a lot of men have a fear of showing some type of weakness, you know what I mean? Or because the public will think you're weak. But we all deal with struggles, and trying to hide them is an issue. Why do you think so many veterans blow their heads off? Because they're trying to, live in that, we in the military, we live in that warrior lifestyle where, oh, you can't talk about your feelings, or, you're struggling with this, man. Sometimes it's good to hear somebody else struggling, because I may be going through the same thing. I want to hear what you're dealing with, because it may help me, or give me at least some type of hope, that I can make it. I can make it out of the hole, So him dealing with his trauma probably led him to be a MMA champion, because he wanted to be able to defend himself. You know what I'm saying? I had a very similar scenario, where I went when I was a kid. I told this story. I was 14. My parents went to, the city, which was kind of far away because we live out in the country. Someone tried to break in my home, and I was there alone. I got my father's gun, and I've told this story a gazillion times. But anyway, after that, the following week, I told my 14-year-old self, I remember out in the backyard, and I was like, I'll never I'll never be hurt by anyone, you know, physically. And so I started taking martial arts and everything, weight training, you name it. Like, as I was like, I'm going to be, you know, hard to kill. I want to be able to survive anything, and led me into survival, probably led me to who I am today, because my whole direction in life changed after that. I focused on making sure that I would not be hurt. And, you know, I went through counseling before, veteran counseling. And I'm not afraid to admit that, for quite some time, actually. But, you know, the thing is that one thing my counselor told me is that, like, my makeup, like the person I am, like who I become, is because, you know, wanting to be strong, wanting to be capable, and all these sort of things, is because I don't want to let anybody hurt me. And so, you know, lifting weights, training in combatives, being proficient at it, you know, shooting firearms, you know, I just made my life to be where I would be a force to be reckoned with. Like, I don't want to be hurt. So, you know, even just having physical mass and muscles, me being a big guy, you know, that deters a lot. It deters a lot. A lot of people don't want to mess with you because of just that alone. And so I know a lot of you probably may feel the same way, or have lived through these sort of things as well. And maybe you were abused, maybe you were, you know, hurt, and this and that. And you may wonder why you lean towards this type of lifestyle of being hard to kill, hard to hurt, these sort of things. And that's probably why it's coming from that inside you, that you want to be a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? I don't walk around in fear, never. Like, I mean, and I could be a little retarded. I mean, I don't know, but I never get in fear. Even when I get in actual physical confrontation or violence, I don't ever feel fear, because I feel very capable. Again, I could be retarded. But, you know, the thing is that, training and living that lifestyle has, you know, brought me comfort, and maybe it brings you comfort as well, or will bring you comfort if you venture down that road. And I'm not saying everybody needs to live that way, but if you have some type of demons you're facing, and maybe that's a way to help overcome them. But, you know, there's a saying that I like to say, is that a man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor. You know, we always have to suffer to get better. And, you know, a lot of us, man, we live a life of suffering, a lot of suffering, man. I feel like, you know, in life, every time I get on top of something, the suffering comes again. And that's just how it is for a lot of us. And hopefully, you know, I'm telling you these things because, again, a lot of people reached out to me, emailing me and messaging me and stuff. And they're like, man, I'm the same way. I feel like everybody turned their back on me in life. And I wanted to thank you, because I know I'm not alone. You're not alone, man. You're not alone. Okay. You're not alone. We're all there. And just because I have some followers on YouTube doesn't mean a damn thing. It doesn't mean nothing. I'm no more of a man than you. I'm no better than you. We're all the same. A lot of people in this world of influencing, and I hate to even use that term, but I get it. It's what people say. They feel like they're somehow better than you, or they're above you, or they don't ever. It's kind of like one thing I try to do, at least, and I can't do it all the time just because of time, but I try to always comment back to you guys as much as I can, you know what I mean? And to let you know, I'm a real human being. You know, a lot of these influencers, you'll never talk to them. And I get it, because, man, but, you know, I actually never watched YouTube before I started making YouTube videos, which is weird, but I never was into social media. I didn't even have any personal social media. So, you know, but to think that you can, you know, actually talk to someone you watch is a pretty incredible thing. And that's what I like about, you know, because, like I said, I've worked on television before, and when you work on television, you have that cut from the public, mainly because you have to, as part of your contract. You can't really go out there and say things because they don't want you to say something stupid. But the benefit, and why I've always stayed true to having YouTube and social media, is that I can have that one-on-one connection with a lot of you guys. I know a lot of you guys on, you know, first name basis, and I talk to you guys frequently. A lot of you guys share stories, you know, and a lot of you guys motivate me as well. So, but again, a man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor. So don't worry, man. Take all that pain, all that suffering, and just forge yourself into a better, tougher version of yourself. Okay. Anyhow, let's move on. Sorry I went down that road, but The other thing is, so Sean Strickland using his platform, right? Great. Other people are switching though too. Other notable people, rapper Meek Mill says Joe Biden is too old to be president, appears to back Trump as candidate for people in poverty voting for. People in slews, especially in the hip hop community, are backing Donald Trump now, which is wild. It is growing. You know, people are stopping with the fear because they see the country, the absolute mess Marxism will bring to a country. Right? Nobody that lived pre-2020 wants to live in Marxism, man. You experience freedom. You experience a good economy. Why do you want to go towards Marxism? You're believing the freaking hype that CNN tells you, oh, this is bad. This person's a racist. Who cares? It's stupid. Anyhow, another damning hit was JP Morgan CEO. He's also come out. And check this out. This was on the CNBC interview, and you see these guys over here twitching in their freaking chairs. Watch this.
I wish the Democrats would think a little more carefully when they talk about MAGA. When people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. Now, if you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. Mm-hmm. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. Mm-hmm. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues. And that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up here, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting
Trump? It's hard to hate 75 million of your fellow Americans. And
I agree.
It's done
and, you know, the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really, can we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect, and I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign.
You see the beta male over there. He's just hating 75 million Americans. Dude, like he said, deplorables and all that. But that beta male was referring to the Democrats saying Trump was hating them. But it's wild. You're sitting here, beta male. You have a CEO of JP Morgan over here talking about the economy, who knows more than you do, and you're over here talking about the stupid social justice propaganda you guys, CNBC is pushing, as well as CNN, all these other guys. China virus. Yeah, because that's what the freak it was. And they're coming out with a new one. This one, Daily Mail reports Chinese scientists created a mutant strain that attacks the brain with a 100% kill rate in mice, as they admit the risk of spillover to humans is this is real. Maybe we should stop creating things in Chinese labs. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Seems like a good idea to me, though. A redneck from the sticks. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. But one thing is, like, that guy, JP Morgan, Meek Mill, all these people. It's great that more and more people are coming out. It is. But now, I want you to understand, people in your community, those people that were hating on you and stuff like that because they're calling you a racist and this and that because you voted for Donald Trump, they're backing Trump now, right? And you're going to see all these adamant haters of Trump switch to support him. And initially you think, oh, it's great, we're changing people, but don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. These people didn't change. These are the people that are easily swayed by peer pressure. Okay. And I remember all the people that I've dealt with in business, like you're wrote off. Don't come back to me, buddy. Don't come back to me with all that nonsense you brought to me and said you weren't going to work with me because of X, Y, and Z. Don't come back to me. Because we got big things coming, and don't come to me when the big things happen. I don't want to talk to you. I'll actually probably blast you all over the freaking internet and tell them how much of a fruit you were. But anyway, these people aren't changing. They're swayed by peer pressure. And you're seeing guys coming out as trans that probably wouldn't ever have 3 years ago and beyond, but they fell to peer pressure. So like, oh, I'm trans now, but don't give them a break. Remind them of the slimy snakes they were, and they can't be trusted because they fell for the freaking media, the propaganda, right? They were mouth breathers. Now, the shift on these things is coming, but you have all the Davos folks and all these WEF guys. You see this right here, this letter right here. Look at this from the EU. EU is concerned about U.S. election. The chatter around the U.S. election goes beyond Davos. However, a top EU official told CNBC Wednesday that the bloc has concerns and is preparing for any option. You're preparing for any option, maybe JFK or something. The European Union, the political and economic organization of 27 nations who previously criticized by political experts not taking the election of Trump seriously back in 2016. The EU and Trump clashed over many items, most notably on trade and role of multilateral institutions. Of course, it will have influence in the EU. The European Commission vice president told CNBC in Davos regarding U.S. election. If Mr. Trump will become the president, we might see a strengthening of Russia, increasing of appetite of Putin to grab more territory. And this directly endangers the security of our member states, she said. We have concerns and we're preparing for any option. They're going to spread this propaganda that if Trump wins, he'll be a global security threat. Right? So they're going to take any option. Yeah, that's a threat. That's a threat. And you have to think, like, how deep does it go? How deep does the deep state go? Or is it's a global thing? This is a global thing. And then you have what the title of this video is. The federal government has flagged citizens' purchases for MAGA and Trump gear. But that ain't it. That ain't it, guys. The Committee of the Judiciary and Select Subcommittee. I'm going to put this letter up here so you can see it. On the weaponization of the federal government are conducting oversight of federal law enforcement, receipt of information about American citizens without legal process, and its engagement with the private sector. Based upon documents obtained by the committee and select subcommittee, we believe that you, the former director of Office of Stockholder Integration Engagement in the Strategic Operations Division of Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN for short, possess information necessary for our oversight. We ask that you appear to the transcribed interview. The committee and select subcommittee have obtained documents indicating that the following January 6th, FinCEN distributed materials to financial institutions that, among other things, outline the typologies of various persons of interest and provide financial institutions with suggested search terms and merchant category codes, or MCCs, for identifying transactions on behalf of the federal law enforcement. These materials include a document recommending the use of generic terms like Trump and MAGA, search Zelle payments and messages, as well as prior FinCEN analysis of lone actor homegrown violent extremism indicators. According to this analysis, FinCEN warned financial institutions of extremism indicators that include transportation charges such as bus tickets, rental cars, or plane tickets for travel areas with no apparent purpose. So if you traveled somewhere that didn't have a legitimate, I guess, purpose, that you are a terrorist. Or the purchase of books, including religious texts. Oh, if you bought the Bible, man, you got put on a list. Insubscriptions to other media containing extremist views. In other words, FinCEN urges large financial institutions to comb through the private transactions and their customer suspicious charges on the basis of protected political and religious expressions. So that means that if you bought a Bible, bought a firearm, bought a Trump hat, bought maybe, hell, this hat right here, American flag. I mean, you don't know, right? So then we go on. Obtained documents showing that FinCEN distributed slides prepared by financial institutions explaining how other financial institutions can use MCC codes to detect customers whose transactions may reflect potential active shooters. So they're calling you active shooter now. If you bought an American flag hat, you probably bought a Bible. And who may include dangerous international terrorists, domestic terrorists, homegrown violent extremists, lone wolves. For example, the slide instructs financial institutions to query for transactions using MCC codes such as small arms, sporting and recreational goods and supplies. How many of you guys have bought that? I know I bought a lot. And keywords like Cabela's or Dick's Sporting Goods, among several others. Despite you bought you some hunting camouflage, you got put on this freaking FBI hit list. When you get the AMRAP rolling through your freaking living room, you know why. Despite these transactions having no apparent criminal nexus and, in fact, relate to Americans exercising their Second Amendment rights, FinCEN seems to have adopted a characterization of these Americans as potential threat actors that's kind of pervasive financial surveillance carried out in coordination with and the request of federal law enforcement into America's private transactions alarming, raises serious doubts about FinCEN's respect to the civil rules. We knew that these boys were using the federal law enforcement as a political weapon, right? And so if you have done anything patriotic, you've bought anything patriotic, you are now on a freaking list, right? Scary. And people are like, oh, this is fiction. No, that's freaking from the House committee. So yeah, it's true. So any religious texts, you bought a C.S. Lewis book, you bought a Bible, you bought Hillsong United CD, you bought an American flag hat, you bought some camouflage from Cabela's, you bought a rifle, you bought a pistol, you bought some ammunition, you bought night vision, you bought a plate carrier. Oh, why you need that stuff? Well, because I freaking wanted it. It's America, right? But the thing is that this puts you in this category of extremists, lone wolf, this and that. Oh, if you're traveling, oh, you and the old lady want to go take a trip to go see the mountains, and boom, you're on a hit list, right? Yeah, that's where we're at. So, guys, it's not a game anymore. We're living in 1984, and this year, 2024, like I said before, and as always, will be the craziest year of your lifetime. I've got a bad feeling. I do. It's not. It could be a coup. It could be. Hopefully so, man. Hopefully everything's business as usual. Everything's okay, but I don't feel that way. But anyhow, guys, I'd love to know your thoughts. And obviously leave the comments. Help me give a like. Help me with those algorithms. That will always help. Leave a comment. Always help. And not just in the live chat. Go to the comment section and drop a comment. I have a 2-hour window to get those comments up to help drive it, to help new people see this content. That's the whole goal. We want to get the message out. We want to get the word out to other people. So share it, all those sort of good things. And if you haven't, you can join our tribe in the link below in the description box, how to join the tribe. People always ask how to join. It says how to join the tribe, and you click there and pick a level you want to go, and then you'll get a link to our private chat group. And that way you can connect with people that are like-minded. And obviously, these are going to be rough times. Obviously, get food and all these sort of things. We're also going to have a new food kit, food offer tomorrow. It's not a kit, but it's a new food offer tomorrow. We're doing one. This is the last week we're going to be doing that. But I wanted to give an offering for those folks because, man, we're living in troubled times, and you never know what's on the road ahead. Obviously, gas mask and all those sort of things are in the link below as well. All the things, antibiotics, all the things that I recommend I actually use. I got gas mask. I got gas mask always sitting around me, man. I got them here. Boom. Got them here. Gas mask. Yeah. I got a few of them. I always keep the gas mask, nods, all that stuff handy. So make sure you grab you some stuff up, guys. Use my discounts to get you some savings, or don't. You can pay full price. It doesn't matter. But I want to know your thoughts about everything I talked about. And guys, hopefully Sean Strickland wins his fight. I would like to see it. I'd like to see him keep his reign, and that way he can keep fighting, using his voice to fight. A lot of the UFC fighters actually are on board with the movement. So this is like Vivek Ramaswamy said the other day, this is the revolution we're living in right now. Thing is, we live in a digital age, so things are different. This is a different type of revolution. It's not like the 1776, although it is, but it's a different type. It's a different type. It is a information war, 5th generation warfare, psyops, propaganda. But if you have a voice, use it. Okay, guys, don't be afraid. You're not alone. But if you are alone, you have to do it alone. Like I said the other night, you may have to do it alone. Anyhow, guys, remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Good night. Take care.